Gomer here with the third instructional video for GitSync. Here we're going to set up Venus to pull from Mercury. Mercury becomes a pull peer to Venus. The reason we do this is Mercury cannot see Venus through the firewall. And we're going to set that up now. The three windows on Mercury are pretty much set up as they were when we set up Mercury as a peerless node. Here, we're going to set up Venus to pull from Mercury. See, there's no demo directory now, so we'll make it. And from here, we're going to do a git sync install, specifying a pull with the user, host, and directory. It'll clone the Git database from Mercury and remind you to make this cron entry, which you can just paste in. I'm going to do that now. Now, when cron first kicks off, which will be about 45 seconds from now, it will synchronize the database, which is already there, into this directory, which is now empty. It hasn't yet done the rsync from the database that it cloned to this working directory. Again, that'll happen at in 15 seconds when cron next kicks off. We can see here that changes to Mercury still get reflected in the log file. This is the GitSync log file, and this is the database log file. Now it's cron is kicked off for the first time on Venus, so they're the files from Mercury. Now, the demonstration here is to show that what we change on Mercury gets reflected on Venus. So let's start by adding a new file here on Mercury. And we see that it gets reflected. This is the new file on Mercury in the database, and this is in the GitSync log. And let's see if it's here. Not yet. Let's speed it up a little bit. Oh, there it is. If I do want to watch on Venus, we're kicking off iNotify very often. The listing of the file kicks off iNotify, so that now changes here on Mercury are almost immediately reflected on Venus. There we see it went from 4 bytes to 8 bytes. And if we do it again, it'll go to 12 bytes. There. And if we remove a file here, it'll be removed on Venus as well. And if we change files, it'll be reflected there as well. And I think we already demonstrated that, but let's do it again. We already demonstrated that. That's fine. So on Venus, if we take a look inside the database, we'll see that the install script already set up Mercury as a peer. We don't need to do that. We can take a look at the config file and we'll see how the install script, before we've modified it, it is set up Mercury as a pull peer, and really it only did that once. Don't be deceived. And it's superseding these definitions up here. This sync mode is set up read only, which means that it will ignore all changes in the working directory here on Venus. If I attempt to create a file, you can't do it. our sync will resynchronize from the database. Because this node is set up read-only, you cannot create files. You can't modify files from here. If you try to, they'll just be overwritten and lost. They won't be recorded. Later, we'll change these nodes from read-only nodes and write-only nodes to read-write nodes so that you can see how GetSync will allow you to track changes from all nodes simultaneously. That's a bit trickier. But this shows, what I've done here is shown how to set up Venus with Mercury as a pull peer. Venus is read-only, Mercury is write-only. In the next video, we're going to set up Pluto, where Pluto can't see Venus because of the firewall and doesn't have an account on Mercury. So the solution to getting Pluto its reference copy of what's on Mercury is to have Venus push its changes to Pluto. Venus will then be acting as like a store and forward mechanism where it pulls changes from Venus and then forwards them to Pluto. And what we'll have is two reference copies of what happens on Mercury. That's in the next video. Please watch out for it, and thanks for watching this one.